Hi, it's John Doe, aka Frags with the D&B Academy, and welcome to another video. Today, we're going to be exploring Serum. So I'm preparing this cool series of videos with some insights in this awesome new synth by Xer. It's pretty much the upgrade everyone's been asking for in the last, I would say, 5, 6, 7 years. It's obviously one of the most used in the industry, and that's why there's all this big buzz about it. So today, I felt like we could go over one of the coolest things they added up here, which is pretty much being able to split our sound in different frequency bands, right? And do different processing within it. It's a process that we're kind of used to do on different stages of the sound design process of a bass, for instance, something we're used to do within our DAW, right? But now we can already prep up the sound and make it sound, once again, way better and way more professional straight out of Serum, all right? So let's dive right into it and I'll show you the coolest things we can do with this process now. Okay, so I decided to design like a Reese bass, really simple Reese bass, because it's actually one of those types of sounds that require a really precise sort of processing, right? So we're going to use these two saw waves, right? We're going to bring them down 3 octaves. We're going to tune this one 38. This one we're going to do it -38. Whoopsie daisy, -38. There we go. So we can have this cool T-tune. All right, it's really cool, but still obviously quite rough. So we're gonna add just a filter, really simple notch, send it to both filters. So we can notch down these frequencies and add a little bit of movement in polar mode with this oscillator, with this LFO. Somewhere around here. We're gonna turn on our noise. Can go, there's a new folder of noises here within Serum. We can actually start explore because at this point we just want a white noise, and as you can see there's this new color folder in which we can use the white noise simply. It's going to be really helpful in a minute, trust me. All right, so now that we got this sort of like rough sketch, I'm just going to turn on the voicing here so we can get this really cool glide, for our Reese bass in this case. And what we need to do now is just like flip the screen and get into this new really cool way of pretty much applying effects to our sounds in Serum too. So yeah, let's do that. So as you can see here, we've got like 3 new spots where we can pretty much drop effects, right? We got 2 buses where we can send loads of different elements of our sound there via the mixing here. Just a matter of, assigning to the bus 1 or 2. But in this case, we're gonna keep this within the main, right? So first things first, we're gonna use a set of effects that are gonna like shape up our sound a little bit, just to make like all these sounds we added, like both saw waves, the noise oscillator as well, to make them start to sound like one. So I'm going to add just a subtle tube distortion. Somewhere around here. I'm just going to go back to my oscillator and bring down the noise a little bit. Cool. As I said, now we're going to also just add a little bit of EQing. Okay, to control the sound a little bit better, so we're gonna add a notch around the 500 hertz spot here, just to clean up the sound a bit better again. Right, and now that's where the magic kind of like it's gonna start to come in. All right, we're gonna collapse these in a minute because we're not gonna need them anymore. They're gonna be like the default sort of processing going to give to the sound. And then we're going to go to our effects tab here and going to add this splitter LMH, which stands for lows, mids, and highs, of course. And what this is going to do, which is pretty much going to split our sound in 3 different bands that we can set the crossover point here, right? Usually I would set something around like 180 for this part. Depends on the sound, but I want to keep like my lows, especially like my sub, really like isolated for this part is really important. So I might even go lower as like 90, depending on what we're doing, okay? So I'm gonna leave it like that. And the beauty about it is now we can just go here, as you can see, and start, you know, applying different types of processes to the different bands, okay? So first thing we see, we have our lows, which are kind of like still a bit out there. I'm gonna open up my spectrum, just so you can see. So you see there's quite a bit of phasing going on. It's like it's not constant. We might wanna just adjust that then with a sub oscillator, but it's not bad. But we might wanna, you know, for instance, go to our lows, apply an utility, and in this utility we're gonna mono our bass from the 90 hertz below. So we're gonna make sure that our low end is mono completely, which is good, okay? And then after that, we're gonna add a little bit of EQing in case we just wanna boost a little bit of our sub around this lower region. We can even increase the Q. You see, now our sub is way stronger. Hell yeah. It's way, way better. And obviously this wouldn't be possible to be this precise before because we're actually just like applying these effects straight to our low end. Then on the mids, we can start being a bit more creative, right? Because we don't have to follow such a big amount of rules in this case. So what we're gonna do here is just start being a bit more extreme on the processing, right? So we're gonna apply a little bit of distortion. Let's bring this down here and we need to select the mids. We were working on our lows here and now we're working on our mids. So we're gonna apply a little bit of tube distortion and we can start exploring some of the new distortion types here. There are not that much, but we got like this overdrive has changed a bit. So it's really cool for Reese basses. We don't even need to filter that much. But I already brought that heat to our mids. And now we can apply a little bit of chorus after the distortion so things don't get that messy, you know? So we're gonna do this gently. Cool, so you see the mid-range is starting to pop up a bit. And then to wrap up this, I'm gonna add a compressor, okay? Just to slightly do some OTT, some multiband, right? Because now you can choose it here instead of the usual spot back then. So if you click multiband, we got access to this pretty much the same OTT Xfer offers you. So then it would be a matter, like we can obviously skip the lows or know that we're not working on the lows, but we can, you know, just slightly bring up these mids that we compressed. Now they're sounding way more in the front of the mix. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Okay, now highs. It's really up to you and the direction you want to take this bass, but obviously we need to kind of like highlight them a little bit because they just got like sort of lost with all the processing we threw to the other parts of the spectrum. So we're gonna use some distortion as well. We need to be a little bit gentle with this. Okay, so let's switch to our highs here. And instead of tube, we're gonna go with like some soft, you know, saturation just to bring the crisp back up again. And if you even want to keep this a bit more interesting, we can add a little bit of reverb just to the tops as well to create a little bit of room, something small. Like we're going to decrease the size, we're going to put this into whole mode, small decay, short decay. Now we add that little background to the sound. And bang, there we go. If we collapse this, you see we have a really different type of chain that you used to see in Serum, and the advantage of that is this: we can get the sound to sound almost like not finished because we would need a few other stuff after Serum, but way better than it could have ever sound, or at least as precise that we could have made it before in the other version of Serum. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.